fellow Spartans, how you doing, and welcome back to another video. So as promised yesterday, I'm here with a pretty cool pitch battle showcasing the Garamantians, who have now been unlocked as a new playable faction on Total War Attila, which was released alongside the Slavic Nations Culture Pack, which I've covered of course yesterday in a separate video, and is linked down below in the description in case you haven't seen it yet. So the Garamantians are playable for free, so regardless if you purchase this Slavic Nations DLC or not, they are now unlocked for every single owner of Attila. So these guys have some pretty nice units which we'll take a look at in just a second, and they come as well with some useful faction bonuses. For example, they are completely immune to desert attrition, and they also have Scourge of the Desert, which gives 15 plus melee attack during desert battles. So hopefully that will play in our favour today. So we are fighting just off the coastline of North Africa, and the Garamantians have pushed their territories north from their homeland in the Sahara Desert, and are now faced with a force of the Eastern Roman Empire, who are attempting to drive them away from these lands. And can the Garamantians stand and hold their ground, or will they capitulate under the pressure? Let's find out. And of course, before we do that, let's take a quick look at the units in a little bit more detail. Okay guys, so our main infantry line is a mixture of spear and melee units, or sword units. Let's have a quick look at them now, zoom in on them. And we're starting off with these guys, the Amazigh or Amazigh Spearmen, medium spear infantry, tier 2. Like the look of these a lot, you know, nice padding to their armour, oval shields, nice helmets, yeah, look pretty impressive indeed. So they are the Amazigh Spearmen. Now these guys, I'm sure we've seen these, well, we've definitely seen these in other factions on Attila before. The Desert Legionary Defectors, heavy melee infantry, tier 2. So yeah, we've seen them plenty of times before. These guys are fantastic. These Shawia Guard, tier 3, very heavy spear infantry. These guys will hold their ground for a long period of time. I love the shields they've got, sort of Romanesque, aren't they? Sort of rectangular in shape. Maybe they have been influenced by the Romans in some way there, because they look very similar to their sort of shields there. So we've got 4 units of these guys. So we've got 4 or 5, 1, 2, 3, yeah, 4 units of these in the centre there, holding the centre of our line. We've got another unit of Desert Legionary Defectors again on the right flank, and again another unit of Amazigh Spearmen on the right flank as well. And then just behind them, we've got again another unit we've seen before, Desert Palatina Defectors, or Palatina, sorry, Desert Palatina Defectors. These again, we've seen, as I say, but these are tier 2 medium melee infantry as opposed to heavy melee infantry, as the defectors, the legionary defectors, are over there. Where are they? There they are, there. So that's them. And then at the back we've just got some very standard light bow infantry, tier 1 Garamantian hunters. Our Desert Warlord is at the back here, tier 2 heavy, or yeah, heavy melee infantry, not very heavy, just heavy melee infantry. It's looking nice there at the back. And on the flanks we've got some nice impressive cavalry that the Garamantians have here. We've got some Amazigh Lancers, obviously not the Spearmen, Lancers this time, tier 2 light shot cavalry, and Lancers of the Oasis, light shot cavalry again, but these are tier 1, but quite deadly. You can pack a bit of a punch to them. Not that expensive, but have got a lot of uses in the battlefield, so they will come in hopefully handy in this one today. And over on the left hand side, before we start our proceedings with the battle, we've got some very impressive, very heavy melee infantry, very heavy melee cavalry I should say, armoured camel warriors, 2 units of them, tier 2. Love the armour on the camels themselves, very detailed. Will definitely provide a nice shock or nice punch into the enemy lines hopefully. And then they are centred with a unit of Tuareg camel spearmen, who are light melee cavalry as opposed to the very heavy cavalry of the armoured ones, and these are still tier 2. I love the detail, I love the purple colours that these units have, very nice on the eye. So yeah, that is them. And then finally we haven't finished just yet, we've got 2 units of noble Numidian cavalry, medium skirmisher cav, tier 2. They will hopefully harass the enemy. And then over here, where are we? I've got the Romans in a second. I've got another unit. There you are. These are sort of guerrilla cavalry because these can be deployed outside of the deployment zone. These are Amaziah Raiders, medium melee cav, tier 2. So these 3 units essentially, these 2 medium skirmisher cav, sorry, light skirmisher cav, sorry, and medium melee cav over here will sort of harass the enemy and try and draw them out of position essentially. And then the Romans, the Eastern Roman Empire, we've seen these guys before, you know, a mixture of axemen, legio, heavy cav, pike infantry, you know, the usual build you'll have to an Eastern Roman Empire army, and we'll see these guys of course in action as they clash. Okay then guys, so let's go into cinematic mode of course as always and enjoy this battle in all its glory. So as I said to you just before there, I'm using these 2 units of light skirmisher cav to draw their heavy cavalry out of the main body of the Eastern Roman Empire's forces or army and try to exploit them, harass them, pick away at them bit by bit, because these are heavy cavalry. These will tire out quicker. They're not as quick obviously as my skirmisher cav are, and as well as that, we have got a slight advantage, only a very slight one, in terms of the terrain, because we have positioned ourselves up on the hill there. So these units are standing, you know, their ground there, rested, ready to go, active essentially, eager. And the Eastern Roman Empire having to traverse up the hill a little bit, which will tire them out because, as I said, they are heavier armoured units, or heavier than we are, and you know, it's going to tire them out eventually. So that's going to give us a slight advantage early on, I feel. And that's great now. Look at the skirmisher cav. They've drawn those cavalry units of the Eastern Roman Empire away from the main force, as I said. But then it's allowed us and our cavalry units to then come down the bank and then charge them head on and pick them off. So great work from the skirmisher cav early on. And now the main force is starting to move forward to the Garamantian line here. Hopefully these Sharia spearmen can hold their ground, with them being those tier 3 very heavy spear infantry. These are the main body of that line there, over there. So look at this, a little bit of a skirmish carrying on here, a little bit of an altercation that's happening on these 2 flanks between the cavalry of my own Garamantians and the Eastern Roman Empire. Over here with the shot cav, and over on the right hand side with the melee cav. So it's 50-50 at the moment. In terms of the balance of power, it is favoured towards the Eastern Roman Empire. I think they've got about 1,000 more men than we have, so we really are up against it today. So again, the skirmisher cav here is drawing them out of position, trying to get a few shots off if they can. Hopefully not hitting too many of our own units. These camel units here, the heavy armoured cavalry of the armoured camels doing their job, mopping up the Eastern Roman Empire's cav as best as they can. But here comes the main charge. The archers of the Garamantians firing over the line here, trying to get as many casualties as they can before they hit our own troops, because now comes a big push. The Eastern Roman Empire have managed to get to our lines with most of their forces intact. So here's where the big altercation now kicks off, really. All across, we're going to engage here. Big charge from these Legio units. These are Palatina, these are? No, these are Eastern Auxilia Palatina. Yes, they are Palatina, in fact. So yeah, really coming in here, spear on spear. Can the Sharia Guard hold their ground? Look at these pike units really pushing in the centre here. Bloody hell. God, this is a real big push. Heavy pressure being mounted from the Eastern Roman Empire here. Palatina Guards holding back for the moment, picking the right opportunity to bring themselves forward. Still allowing, we're hopefully still, yeah, we are in fact, because you can see they're firing, so we are allowing them. The archers are firing in. Hopefully, no, they're not hitting too many of our own men. They're firing over them. I think they are. Yeah, you can see they're hitting the back sort of units, back men of these lines here. God, this is a pretty formidable scene here. Look at this, these pike units getting into our line there and are pretty much being untouched because they can't get at them. Our spear units can't get at them, unfortunately. They are holding their own. We need a cavalry charge in the rear, I think, before that unit will break up. And here comes the camels now into the back of these Legio unit here, trying to get them from the rear, and hopefully then they can sort of move across the line and hit those pike units in a little bit. Because, oh yes, here there's the other unit of pike. Speaking of them here, there's 2 units, I forgot. There's not only one over there, there's one over here as well. This is why we did this. This is why we did this rear charge in fact over here. I remember now. But here comes the other unit of cav. Bang! Bang! That's what we want to see. That's a better impact. Built the momentum well here to try and get in the back of these guys. I think these are our skirmisher cav. Yeah, they are. We're just trying to initialise them now into melee combat to try and, you know, essentially break down the enemy and use what charge bonus they've got, especially with them combined with the rapid advance that they've got, and hit them in the rear, or hit the Eastern Roman Empire's rear lines with them. Obviously they won't do as well as normal melee infantry, sorry, melee cavalry, but they'll still do the job. And now, because that line is broken here, this unit of Eastern Roman Empire pikemen have been sort of isolated on their own here, and this has allowed the archers to pick away at them. This is the only way we can really break them down, either rear cavalry charges or by archer fire, essentially. Look at this block here. Good lord. We've got some rear movement around the back here. We sort of manoeuvred our spearmen, our Azamig spearmen, and our defectors around from that right flank, and then pushed them into the rear this way to try and get into their lines, pin them from the front, and then hit them from the rear. And it's sort of working to an extent, but because of their heavy armour that the Eastern Roman Empire have got, they really will hold their ground for long periods of time. And the Sharia spearmen are starting to drop a little bit here. They're taking a very, very, very heavy battering here in this middle. Still men left, but it's not as much as it was obviously at the beginning. They've taken some heavy casualties, and this is quite an interesting skirmish that's happening here. This is the defectors against their own kind, in fact, before they did defect from the Eastern Roman Empire. So they're fighting their own men in a way here. Quite an interesting scenario, in fact. I'm sure shouts of traitor will be passed between them today. These are their units, Eastern Roman Empire's unit of cavalry they've got. They're going to try and go for the rear charge into my defectors here. They've got quite a good charge off there. Sent a few units flying, in fact. So yeah, the balance of power is still a little bit... It was obviously in their favour, but it's now going in my favour a little bit more. So things are starting to turn, which is quite promising. We've got a few units of cavalry yet left, only very depleted units. In fact, we've got the skirmisher cavalry obviously now engaged in melee. We've got these 2 units of light and very heavy melee cavalry of the camels that are trying to engage the Palatina Guard General. They won't do that much of a job, I don't think. They'll probably get pushed back. Now we've had to use our Desert Warlord because things are getting pretty tight out there, shall we say. It's getting quite tense, the final moments of this battle. Oh, nice charge into the unit of Legio. Drives through them. That's it. Run them down. So yeah, Desert Warlord doing his job today. We surrounded this unit of Eastern Auxilia Palatina here with these 3 units of Shawara Guard and the Amazigh Spearmen. So hopefully they can start to pick him off. But the pike infantry, look at this. The Amazigh Lancers won't do very much against the pike. They will get absolutely annihilated. Look at that. Completely driven back. Still though, we can get some archer fire onto them. That's the only way, as I say, to really get them taken down. But yeah, very tense stuff indeed. The balance of power still, as I say, in our way a little, on our side a little bit. Number of men now is starting to turn into our favour. We've got about 300 more men than they have. So yeah, the tide is starting to turn, but it's been a very, very messy affair. High numbers of casualties have been endured by both sides today. But big push here from the spearmen. The Amazigh spearmen, sorry, are now really pushing in, trying to put the pressure on the remaining units of these pike infantry here, trying to get them down, trying to get behind them. That's it. Sure saw a head go then. Oh, in the balls. Jesus. Yeah, and the momentum is starting to come into our favour now. These pike units eventually falling down. They've been very effective. I'd like to see what their statistics are at the end. How many did it kill? When we do look at the statistics in the end of the battle. But they have finally succumbed to the Garamantians. Hopefully, it looks like we have been able to hold our ground today. And hold these territories in North Africa. Oh, nice charge again from the skirmishers. Get that rapid advance initiated. And these Palatina Guard are now really having to withstand a lot of pressure. This in fact is the general unit. This is the last remaining unit that the Eastern Roman Empire have. So we are surrounding them from every single bloody angle to try and hack them down. The pressure is looming on them. Look at, there's the general in fact himself fighting in the mix. Oh my god, got thrown back then.
The enemy has killed our general.
Oh no, we've lost our general. Oh my god. That is not good. That's not what I want to hear. Now we must take this general down of the Eastern Roman Empire as quick as we can.
Our men have given up and are running for their lives.
Morale must be shaken a lot now, obviously, with that that news spreading through the ranks that we've lost our general. We must take them down as quick as we can now. Let's have a look at the battlefield a second. I think, yeah, oh no, there's a unit over here actually, a Numurai. They're still in the fight. Numurai, I think. Very heavy melee infantry, tier 2. So yeah, these guys, besides the general, are the last unit remaining, I think, yeah. General's starting to waver now. He's succumbing to the pressure. 58 men remaining over there. We've even engaged our archers. They've used all their ammunition. They've lost it all, so they may as well engage in melee. And we've got a charge in from the general as well. That's then crippled the morale, and immediately they have retreated and given up the fight. So there we go, a Pyrrhic victory in the end. And yes, I did say it wasn't clean and it wasn't an easy victory, but by God, it was quite dramatic, and both sides did take a lot of substantial losses. Let's have a quick look at the statistics as we always do. And as you can see here, we only had about 900 men remaining in the end, 907. They lost a lot more. They only had 305 remaining. So as I said at the beginning of the battle, they did bring about 1,000 more men, as you can see. And I think that did come through in the end in the battle. That pressure in the centre was too much eventually for my units to take. The Sharia Guard were, you know, driven back quite substantially as the battle wore on, and I think it was my cavalry that came through, and it was them that really made the difference between defeat and victory today. Because look at that, these two units of skirmisher cav basically combined got 700 kills. So I think you know, doing their range attack and then engaging in melee made it that they really were the difference today, and also the other units of cav really racking up the kills as well. But you know, the Sharia Guard and the defectors, the infantry did do a very fine job themselves as well. But yeah, the pressure in that centre was very intense for many parts of that battle, in fact. So yeah, really enjoyed this one today. Really pleased with the battle itself. I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I did, and you know what to do. If you did, drop your like, and it's great to show off the Garamantians in all their glory today as well. But if you want to play these for yourselves, this faction, these guys, you can, no problem at all. As I said, they're absolutely free as part of the update that came out on Thursday, and also there's a link down below in the description to the patch notes and a bit about the Garamantians as well, so you can read up about these guys at your own leisure when you have chance to do so. So thank you very much for watching, but until next time, this is Warrior Spotter for now saying farewell.